Now the lovely Amy Sayre-Baptista will be moderating. She lives and writes in two places that shaped her family, the Madeira Islands and Eastern Tennessee. She teaches at Benedictine University and is an associate poetry editor at Quiddity Literary Journal. Her latest publication is in Ninth Letter, and she is nominated for a Pushcart Prize this year.
Louise said I was to kiss everyone. So all y'all better get ready for that, because I'm going to kiss all of you. I do everything Louise tells me to. Yeah. Yes. As Millicent said, my mother's family is from Madeira and Santa de Serra in the mountains, and my father's family is from the hills of East Tennessee. And so the one common thing that these first three poems I'll read share is two things that both Madeira and Tennessee share, and that is stories about witches or bruxas and mountains. And so, well, these poems are called The Fisherman's Daughter, la la la, whatever she does, right? In a series of different things that she gets into. And so it's the voice of, I believe it's the Portuguese-American daughter, the voice of the Portuguese-American daughter in this terrain that we live in Midwestern Illinois, with the witches and the mountains. Okay. So this is called The Fisherman's Daughter Meets a Weird Sister. Chanting over the carcass of a fox in a cave at Hog Island, we find a river witch, her hair a tangle of fish hooks and spider wire. You shame my scream with fingers that stink of bait and brackish water. You say she comes from a wildling clan and bit off the nose of a man who tried to kiss her. The witch sings, God drowns the river in children and angels. She knives the rusted belly of the fox, reaches her hand in and brings out 2 knots of fur. You say no one should interfere with nature. She blows breath into the pups, naming rip tear and tree root. The small coppers cry to life, and then she slices each nipple and suckles the greedy mouths. You cover my eyes with blushing palms. But her tongue echoes in me like a song from the well. Feed what hungers lest you starve. Rock, breath, moonrise, and wonder. Okay, next one. All right. It's called The Fisherman's Daughter Gets a Lesson in Meteorology. When the drought follows spring, puffs of gray breath exhale our every step. Gnats feed on farmers' blood, and men open their mouths to the sky, begging the river witch for rain. She says, hang rattlers from the willow limbs, hook cottonmouth with kudzu. Clouds follow the shadow you meet on the road to Orleans. Men lay down bags of sugar, cords of firewood, and snapping turtle eggs to pay the prophecy. When the floods come, carp feed from the cornfields. Men throw bladders of blood against the cave walls, and they whore the witch's daughters. River witch tracks the tide backwards until men piss cold water and beg for mercy. She silences lamentations with laughter, sharp as a skinning knife, and fills the moon with stink bait. The next rain is a plague, the long suck on a dry breast, aching men's teeth. And she says, snakes do not sing, nor worms guard the door. Horse madness holds no remedy for hysteria. When the river broke the levee, the men nail her hands to a tree stump, tie her feet to a skittish mare, and bellow for thunder. In our community, a lot of the Portuguese-American young men, it's a sort of poverty-stricken area, and a lot of the young men, Portuguese or otherwise American, go either to the military or to prison. And so they farm, they run cattle, they do a lot of different things, but the war has had a particular toll on our community. And so I felt it was important to write something about that. This poem is called After You Left, I Sat by the River and Wept Kandahar. When you return, some of you does not. You scare everyone except the dog. In him, you remember being human. Jihad, you said, means struggle. That's it. That's fucking it. A word too small to involve so many people. You returned without the ability to fish. How in the world did you leave that behind? How was that taken? Boats with engines make you twitch, the reaction of a phantom limb. And what does that look like, standing outside your body? A bicep flex, the hiss of real, the sag of your hip against the water, a war trophy. Okay, this last poem is it's a series of poems I'm working on about Inez and Pedro, and that should be sufficiently Portuguese for all of you. I always remember my grandmother telling me this story, and her saying, there is no woman you know who want to be pulled out of the grave after she's been in there all that time. So what do you think she thought when he brought her out? And so I've always had that in my head, what did she think? And so I think about myself, what I would have felt like. And so this poem is sort of Inez's answer to being put on the throne, and as people walk by her beautiful monument in Alcobaça. Inez de Castro ascends the throne. Unbury me. Reverse the dirt. Sink your arms elbow deep into the soil covering my body. This depth shows respect for the dead. Pry open the coffin lid with your bare hands. Lose fingernails in the process. You'll need to bleed a little bit to get my forgiveness. Pass my severed head through a hawthorn split trunk to quench the king's desire for revenge. Understand, this remedy is not foolproof. The risk you take are your own. But lift me gently, slowly, slowly, so as not to tear the tender ghost from flesh. And don't you dare shudder. If any piece of me falls and you slip and whisper my name, expect to suffer 1,000 deaths in retribution. Now burn the rags hanging from my body. The smoke startles demons from their mischief. At last set me up on the throne and call the murderers forth. Let every living thing fall from my mouth. Rename this wretched jaw beauty, and predict my splintered tooth a relic to divert storms at sea. When the murderers lean down and press their lips to my feet, split open their stupidity and tear it out by the roots. Let their ignorance twist and suffer in the dust of my bones. Let it die there. Here's a secret between you and me. Pedro made promises he could not keep. Someone has to suffer for it. Now, lay down in my grave. You. Shroud yourself in the soil lately unearthed. Pray the saints come to find you, but no, they will not reach you in time. Thank you.